All right, 1 Peter chapter 1. Ready? Here we go. Peter. Pause. Okay, here we go. First word, Peter. Who is Peter? Anybody know who Peter is? Peter, let me tell you who Peter is, because it's very important to know who Peter is. If we just had anybody write a letter to our church and we just read it and we don't know who the author is and why he has authority to read it, we're like, oh man, it's like I just throw that one away, throw that one away. Where's somebody that actually gets it? And then we find the letter of Peter and he got it, because not only did Peter walk with Jesus daily, pause. Just right, think about this. Jesus, God in human form, without error and perfect, and everything that came out of his mouth was just like, whoa. And then all of a sudden he walks on water, and there's storms, and everybody is freaking out, and Jesus is like, just chillax. Hey, wind, storm, they're scared, just be still. And all of a sudden, boom, what did the storm do? It was still, and then all of a sudden, there's all these 5,000 people, and they have all this bread and fish, like just a few, and it's like, how are we going to feed everybody? And Jesus is like, just chill. Lord bless it. And then he starts passing out the bread and the fish, and all the people had enough plus more. That's Jesus. And Peter got to not only walk alongside, but he was a part of the inner circle. He's a part of Jesus' close posse of people that got to see things that other people did not have a chance to see and experience. He was part of the inner circle. He saw all the teachings. And when Jesus asked him, who do you think I am? In Matthew chapter 16, he said, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. And then Jesus responded, it's in Matthew 16, verse 15, verse 20, and it says this, but who do you think I am? And Simon Peter answered, you are the Messiah, the Son of who? The living God, the living God. Jesus responded, blessed are you, Simon, John, son of John, Peter, because my Father, we'll talk about that, that's really cool stuff. The Father in heaven has revealed this to you. You did not learn this from a human being. Now I say to you, Peter, which means what? Rock. Upon this rock, upon this statement, and I'm going to build this church. A.k.a. he's going to build this church. And Peter, and 1 Peter and 2 Peter, has his heart that's pouring out. And the powers of hell will not conquer it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an opportunity to talk to somebody that walked with Jesus, talked with Jesus, and was commissioned by Jesus to go make disciples upon the rock that Jesus was the Son of the living God. So, not only that, and we're like, man, he's this super guy and super Jesus follower. Don't you, like, for me, it's like, I know my faults, I know my errors, and I'm far from a super Christian. But when super Christians are posting on Facebook and doing everything, and we're like, man, I'm still struggling with this, I'm still struggling with that. Man, I could never live up to this or that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a place that we should not be. These super Christians might be super in their Christianity, but they are sinners just like you and me, and so is Peter. This Peter guy, very first word of the whole book was the following. He denied Jesus. He denied Jesus. Denied Jesus. He walked with Jesus, saw the miracles, and then a little girl next to a fire says, you are with Jesus. He's like, shut up, girl. I ain't with that Jesus guy. He walked over to the next place, warmed himself. Hey, weren't you part of the disciples? Dude, just leave me alone. And I was not. He denied him. Then he walks over to another fire pit, and it got even worse. And Peter, the author of the book, the one who walked alongside Jesus, the one who Jesus said, upon your faith, upon that statement, upon you, I'm going to build my church, and the gate of hell will not be able to prevail against it. He's at this next one, and he had this conversation. The guy's like, you were a part of Jesus. And he ended up cussing him out, basically. He said, no, absolutely not. What ended up crowing? The rooster crowed, and Peter's like, oh, snap. I heard a rooster. Jesus said, and he looks up to Jesus, and Jesus is like, he didn't say this. I told you so. Jesus didn't do that. But he looks at him, and Peter's heart melted, and he went away crying. Peter was not perfect, neither are you, neither am I. So we can look at 1 Peter and 2 Peter, but we can look at these passages over these next few weeks and simply say, oh, he gets it. He received the Holy Spirit after being forgiven by Jesus. He received the Holy Spirit at Pentecost. He preached his very first sermon, and 3,000 people came to know Christ. That's a good Jesus day. He was a leader of the early church. He healed many people. He was placed in prison many, many times. And he was humble enough to be hung upside down on a cross. He was hung upside down to die. He was not perfect, but he understood one thing, and he understood the grace of Jesus Christ.